Thank you.
I can do
Steven, Steven, hey, congratulations for The Twin on Shudder.
Thank you very much.
I guess we all have to ask that question, is what initially attracted you to a project like The Twin?
I mean, getting an offer of a job is still always a huge attraction for me. I'm not particularly or necessarily at a stage in my career where there are hundreds of offers coming in, but obviously one of the big attractions was Teresa was attracted to the job. And actually, when Teresa first became attached to the job, she'd mentioned it to me and had mentioned the script and had mentioned that she thought I would be a great fit for Anthony. But at that point, you know, we were still deep in COVID. We were filming on the Discovery of Witches in Wales, and so it wasn't an avenue that I pursued. And then for, you know, a variety of reasons, they had to cast the part very last minute, and Teresa recommended me to Tanali and Alexei, and you know, the rest, as I say, is history. And so it kind of almost felt like maybe it was meant to be in a way.
Wow. So do you do a lot of horror films in this genre before?
Well, I haven't actually, but I now have the film that I did, the last film that I did before this was a horror as well, Martyr's Lane, which came out on Shudder just you know, just last year, 6 or 7 months ago. But no, it's just the way things work, I guess. And it just so happens that, I guess, you know, horror is kind of really in vogue right now. I think it's a genre that, you know, what do people go and see at the movies these days? They go and see Marvel, you know, big budget stuff, or horror. And so I guess there's just there's a lot of horror about right now.
Well, that's great that you've done 2 movies for Shudder, because it's a great horror streaming network. I mean, I probably watch all their horror films for some other reason.
Yeah, no, it's great, and obviously I think Discovery of Witches is on Shudder as well. So I've become like Shudder. Shudder is my go-to station right now, and I think it is great because, like, you know, there are so many different streaming platforms now, aren't there? And actually having one that is dedicated particularly to that type of genre, I think it's you know, it's amazing for horror fans out there that there's a service like that.
Now, for a movie like The Twin, I guess the best part is getting out of the UK, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it in Finland or is it in Estonia where they did the production?
It was in Estonia where we filmed. Yeah.
Well, most excellent. Well, tell us about you know, traveling overseas for production in Estonia. I never been to Estonia.
Well, neither had I, and you know, it was interesting because it's at that point. So filming started March 2021, and at that point we were still, you know, in lockdown in the UK. Travel was still entirely restricted. You couldn't really get on a plane unless you had a very good reason for going somewhere. So I knew going into the job that I wasn't going to be able to get home for 2 months. And I've got you know, I'm married. I've got a 4-year-old. She was 3 at that point, daughter. So it was a huge, and I've never been away from home for longer than a week. Since my daughter was born. So it was a big decision taking that on board, but you know, we spoke about it and we decided it was, you know, a really good opportunity, and I really wanted to work with Tanali and Teresa again. And so it was kind of it was a mixed bag in a way. I had a great time in Estonia. You know, I had a great time making the film. Similarly, I'd never been to Estonia. I learned so much. I loved the Estonian people and the Finnish people. There were a lot of Finnish people working on the movie as well. Really great people. I learned a lot about the politics that exist on that side of the world with Russia, which 12 months on, everything that the Estonian people told me has sadly come to roost. And but it was tough as well. It was very, 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 very tough not seeing my family for 2 months. And, you know, as happens in the movie, I'm playing a character who I have to try and imagine what it's like to suffer the loss of a child. And the day that I was leaving to go to Estonia for 2 months, saying goodbye to my daughter that day, I was absolutely bereft. So it's unimaginable, you know, or it's something you don't really want to imagine going through, suffering the loss of a child.
Yeah, I can't imagine how Teresa played her character, but you also had to get in the headspace of Anthony, who kind of goes through these different emotions throughout the entire film. I mean, I don't want to spoil it myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that ultimately the film is, you could see the film so many different ways, and it's you know, ostensibly it's a horror, but very much in the psychological side of things. And I, from an actor's point of view and from a character's point of view, I kind of saw it as a couple trying to deal with grief in their own separate ways. And obviously Rachel deals with it in her way, and Anthony's dealing with it in his own way. But like you say, I still had to be in the mindset of a parent who's lost his child. And I would never subscribe to the idea that I'm a method actor in the popular held opinion of it, you know, like the Daniel Day-Lewis way, or I don't necessarily stay in character all day on set. But being out there and being in that environment, and you know, and actually being away from my child as well, and kind of being of that mindset, it really took its toll on me as filming went on, which is you know, which is, it's never happened to me quite like that before on a job.
Yeah. Well, then address me this because you don't have a lot of scenes, but tell us about the wonderful scenes you had with Tristan, the child.
Well, it was, you know, that was interesting for, you know, for me. It's obviously without giving anything away in the film, I think Tristan is just, you know, I mean, Tristan's never, I think Tristan had done a little TV job, but he'd certainly never done a job on this magnitude. You know, he's English, he's playing an American as well. And he is the sweetest kid in real life. He's so sweet and cute and funny. And there's something about when they put the camera on him and when he just did nothing, he looked terrifying. And, you know, I think he's done such a great job in the movie. That's, you know, Martyr's Lane, actually, I worked with two incredible children on that as well. And the thing about children that we start to lose as we enter into adulthood, they've just got such a lack of self-consciousness. And that's what you want to keep as an actor. When they shout action, you don't want to be self-conscious. And kids just sometimes have got that, or they don't. And I think, you know, for people who watch the movie, I think they'll agree, or I hope they agree. And, you know, Tristan did a fantastic job.
Awesome. Well, Steven, I really appreciate you speaking to us about the twin. And I just want to remark that on my Twitter feed, everyone just keeps on talking about Outlander. I'm sure fans missed you on that part.
Yeah, I know. I get asked a lot if I'm going back for season 7, and you know, I just say watch this space. Who knows?
That is terrific. Well, I appreciate you carrying this conversation. Hopefully, we get to do this again.
Yeah, nice one. Great to meet you. Thanks, Gig.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.